Hello everyone, this is Necrostevo and you're watching my 34th narrated Wi-Fi battle. This is a battle I had with Arcan9 on the Serebii chat forums. We had a pretty decent match actually. Using some new Pokemon here, so let me know what you all think. I start off with my choice bandit Arcanine, and he starts off with Haxorus. You saw in the team preview he had a Zoroark. And I've never really seen Haxorus disguised as a Zoroark, and I didn't expect that. The better play would have probably been to go for the extreme speed, even on the Haxorus, because I can only 2-hit KO them with the Choice Man. But I go into Uxie expecting the Earthquake, and right there is where he shows me that it's Zoroark. This is my specially defensive Uxie, though. I'm sorry, no, that's my offensive Uxie. So it doesn't take that very well at all, but it does allow me to live it and swap it out for something else, bringing in his real Haxorus, which is funny that it went into that one. And there's the Mold Breaker. The reason I didn't think the first Haxorus was the right thing was because Haxorus can also have Rivalry as an ability, so Mold Breaker won't necessarily pop up when Haxorus comes in. Here, seeing that I swapped him into his real Haxorus, I went back out into Arcanine, not only to intimidate it, but to see what he would go for. Hopefully he was going to go for the Dual Chop or something like that. But even if you went ahead and attacked, Arcanine's pretty bulky. Here I just stay in and go for the Choice Bandit Flare Blitz on that Kangaskhan because I know I could hurt it or anything else pretty badly, and I almost kill it. I get what I'm going to call as the pretty useless burn in this case, because he does go for the Double Edge. After the Intimidate, that wouldn't have done much anyway, and I still did a ton of recoil to myself. So I'm going to call it that being, so it is hacks, you know, you only have low percentage chance of burn right there, but I don't think it really mattered in the long run, because either way he was going to go down. So here I switch out my Haxorus expecting another Double Edge, and I go out into my Physical Wall Tangrowth just to take the hit and he'll die from the burn. That's fine. You know, he does attack me, but Physical Wall Tangrowth doesn't take anything from that. And even if I hadn't burned him, I could have stalled him out with the Tangrowth, so that's why I'm thinking that didn't really matter. I haven't had a chance to use this Physical Wall Tangrowth to its full potential. It has Amnesia to go alongside its special defense, great defense stat, but I haven't had a chance to use it. Here he makes an interesting double switch as he switches out to Haxorus after bringing in Zoroark, expecting me to switch out to something that could take special attacks a little bit better. And I believe I switch out into my Jellicent, which is a max HP, max special defense Jellicent. And even though he is physical, he didn't want to get burned is what I'm guessing is why he switched. So he switches out to Tentacruel, and I double switched on that same turn, not wanting to take a physical attack on my Jellicent, so I switch into my Tangrowth. So here I thought I had a pretty good matchup. Most Tentacruels aren't offensive, but this is actually an offensive Tentacruel, as he goes for the Sludge Wave, and that's going to one-hit KO me from that amount of HP. Tangrowth doesn't have that good of special defense, and Tentacruel has decent special attack, but mostly people use it as a special wall from what I've seen. So I think that's the second time I was kind of taken by surprise by Tentacruel being more offensive than normal. But here I bring in my Electivire, which not many people use. I really like Electivire. And I go for the Earthquake, expecting him to switch. I didn't know what he was going to switch to, but Earthquake was a good, safe, neutral move. He goes into Marowak. That's fine. I'm able to hit it for a good chunk. There's no way Marowak outspeeds Electivire, and here's where I show him that I have the Expert Belt as I switch up moves and I go for the super effective Ice Punch. For the Electivire, I've always kind of thought when I had Thunder Punch on it that the left hook was a Thunder Punch and the right hook was the Ice Punch. So that always kind of worked out for me. I always thought that was kind of cool. He goes out into Zoroark here and goes straight for the Night Daze. And I was thinking I might be able to take it, but I kind of underestimate Zoroark's great special attack stat. Electivire does have some special defense, which is a pretty decent stat, but that crit may have mattered, but I went for the Wild Charge, so even after the recoil, I probably would have hurt myself. I didn't want to risk the Cross Chop. So here I go back out into my Choice Bandit Arcanine so that I could go for the Extreme Speed. Zoroark is pretty fast and would naturally outspeed Arcanine anyway. And now is okay to go for the Choice Bandit Extreme Speed because I've seen a lot of the stuff on his team, and from the team preview, nothing really wants to take that. He goes out into Tentacruel. Tentacruel has a great special defense stat, but the regular defense stat is just not as good. So I'm able to very cleanly 2-hit KO that if he does want to stay in, which is great. If he switches out, I'll get more damage on something else. If he stays in, I get Revenge for Tangrowth. Although, Revenge for Tangrowth really would have just been not wanting to take a poison attack from a poison type Pokemon and maybe switching out. But I take it out. He goes out into Hitmonlee. Don't really want to stay in on that without getting the Intimidate off on it. So I go out into King Bloop, maybe expecting the high jump kick or the normal attack, maybe fake out, and he goes for fake out. I was really hoping for a high jump kick because he would literally fly straight through Jellicent and crash, and that would kind of be awesome. I believe I go for the poison here. Yes, I go for Toxic, just because residual damage is good. I figured he'd switch expecting something else besides Toxic. You don't really see Toxic on Jellicent very much. But he does switch, and I hit Haxorus, which is okay. But it turns out that it is, again, his Zoroark. And I didn't know that because I haven't gotten damage on either the Haxorus or the Zoroark. So if I had just gotten up Stealth Rocks or something earlier, it would have been easier to tell. I take that Night Daze really well, but unfortunately he gets the accuracy drop. But fortunately for me, I get the Night Daze, which means I'm able to stay in on it and kind of recover up my HP. I used Recover there so that I could Toxic Stall Haxorus if that really was Haxorus. But now that my accuracy is dropped, I didn't know the viability of staying in. Now here he goes for, I believe he goes for Grass Knot after my Leftovers recovery. And Jellicent actually is not very heavy. Grass Knot is one of those moves that is based on weight. And without the critical hit, he would not have killed my Jellicent. King Bloop is the king of all bloops. And it's hard to see bloops. He would not have died to a Grass Knot because he bloops that hard, and he's pretty light Pokemon in general. He's a ghost type. So he needed that crit there to take out Jellicent for sure. Fortunately, with the Toxic and the Life Orb recoil, I'm able to get a good amount of residual damage on it so that I can come in and kill it with something. Here I go out into Life Orb, I believe, cure him. I really should Scarf this thing again because I Scarfed it against one team and kind of ran train on him with the Scarf Ice Beam. Fortunately, since that Night Daze is disabled right now, he's not able to go for a more powerful attack. Able to use that advantage and go for the Ice Beam that's able to easily hit KO that or anything that he may have wanted to switch into. Unfortunately, after that Flamethrower, even though Kyurem has decent bulk, I'm probably not going to be able to take too many more attacks from other things. And he goes out into Hitmonlee. And here I was really expecting the Mach Punch. He goes for Fake Out, and it's normal gem boosted, which is interesting. I haven't really seen that before on a Hitmonlee. And I knew I could live the Fake Out, and so I stay in for that. And then he goes for Blaze Kick. I thought that was a little bit weird. He could have gone for Stone Edge or the Fighting type tech, and that would have been more effective than Blaze Kick. So since he made that play, I'm able to stay in, get a good chunk of damage in on him, and then he just finishes me off with the close combat that he should have used before. Maybe he just didn't want the defense drop against whatever I sent in, but the defense drop would have been a better trade-off than taking 3/4 of your HP to an Ice Beam. So, Michael goes down, unfortunately, and now I'm left with my choice-banded Arcanine and I believe one other Pokemon. So Arcanine is able to intimidate him, lowering his attack. That didn't really matter there because Extreme Speed is going to wipe it out very easily. And knowing that he still has his regular Haxorus left at, I believe it's still at full HP actually, which is super unfortunate because if I had just gotten in any more damage on it somewhere earlier in the match, that would have been wonderful. But I do still have my Uxie that has 5 HP from the beginning of the match. So here I switch out to Uxie for Death Fodder because I knew even if you use Earthquake, Mold Breaker is going to make my Levitate go away. Don't really know how that works. Does it make the Earthquake pop up so high that it hits folding Pokemon? Or does it make them slam into the ground? I don't know. However it works, it takes out Uxie at 5 HP. Now I'm able to come back in with the Intimidate. And maybe live an Earthquake? Not likely. But on the off chance that the Intimidate would help, it allowed me to go out and come back in and go for the Choice Banded Extreme Speed once his attack was lowered. Didn't really matter, but it was a last-ditch effort. If for some reason I was just so bulky that I could live a -1 Earthquake from something as powerful as a Haxorus, then I would have lived. Unfortunately, that is not the case, and he finishes me off with that Earthquake, and that was a close loss, 1-0 loss. So be sure to like if you enjoyed. I hope I have more matches like this in the future. Be sure to subscribe, and you guys should follow me on Twitter. Kind of awesome. All right, you guys have a good day. Bye now.